Hello, everyone. Hello, Callum.
Hello.
Another Friday.
Another Friday. I don't know about you, but seeing that sort of introduction video, firstly, the music haunts my dreams. Secondly, it makes me smile every time. Like I see a different memory, a different moment in there that I'm like, oh, that was a good time. So
yeah, I looked at this video today, especially, and I looked at the Santa Claus clothes, and it reminded me that winter is coming. So it was a mixture of good and bad feelings at the same time. But yeah, it's a very good intro and
maybe
very good.
Maybe we need to get a refreshed version of that, because is that
summer
2 years old?
summer edition.
The video is maybe 2 years old, so I think we've got coming up to 5 years. We can get a new one for 5 years, I think.
Challenge accepted. It wasn't easy to make this one. It took us 2 years, but yeah, who knows? How are you feeling, Callum? All's good?
Good. I'm a bit better. From 2 weeks of COVID that kind of hit me a lot harder than I thought it was going to, and I was very optimistic at the start and feeling terrible at the end. But I'm testing negative. Still can't breathe, which is a problem. But progressing. I'm a little more back to normal. I've been able to do some work this week properly, so that's good. How about you? You're moving house. I've seen you've been posting pictures of you've been painting and.
My life is mostly painting, to be honest. My new home office space, I did the work this week, but I used a ladder as my standing desk for a couple of the meetings. So I already had a couple of my meetings from my new home office space. So it's work in the making. And then we had this talk before going live about developers and builders estimates, just to make us all aware, and you all aware that builders' estimations are similar to developers' estimations. It's supposed to be 2 weeks a week ago, and now it's still 2 weeks of work to be done. Some fixes, some patch releases, some of the features didn't arrive on time yet. It's ongoing, and but right now I was told that 2 weeks from now I should be able at least to do more meetings from the ladder from the destination.
So you've painted your office yellow, and you asked maybe Twitter, Instagram, what was the other color? Am I right in saying the other color is going to be black? Is it going to be black and yellow?
Yes, it's black and yellow. It's a cyberpunk inspired, the busy programmers driven black and yellow. But this yellow is so bright that you don't need to turn light on when you're walking in.
It's energy saving. That's cool.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But yeah, it's happening. It's ongoing. I can't wait, to be honest, for the first umbraCoffee where I'll be doing it there, because I have a little bit better internet connection than this there. So it should be amazing. But maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks from now, we will see. Jumping back to Umbraco stuff, of course, it's another interesting week in Umbraco sphere, and we can start from the article from the Skrift released this week about Vite and Umbraco for the faster front-end build pages.
And Vite, not Vite. We've had a bit of a debate.
Vite. Really?
Yeah, like the hair removal cream, but not the hair removal cream.
Vite.
Yeah, Vite. Yeah. So it's French for fast or something.
Okay.
But it's a very, very interesting build tool that we've been using, that Umbraco is using in the new back office. Jason's written a very cool article about it that kind of shows you how to get up and running, but also with sort of .NET interop. So effectively using it as a way of proxying your Umbraco application, so you can make it work really seamlessly as a modern front-end build process, and it's relatively straightforward to set up. And this article kind of shares everything. He gave this as a talk a few weeks ago at the Wessex meetup, of course, that him and Joe and Ollie organise. And this is the blog version. And
I must say that I spread the article amongst the front-end teams with who I work with, and Vite seemed to be another kind of cool kit that is as same popular as Vue.js when it was just at the beginning. It was like very hyped, very and it is coming from the same creator, so that's like
guy, and I have to say you're right. And Vue.js was the underdog a bit at the start. People were a bit skeptical, but at least now it's my preferred sort of framework for building those sorts of things. And then yeah, like from what I've seen, this is Webpack, but way easier, and you don't have to worry about it, and way faster, and it just works a bit like Vue did. So yeah, that's really cool. Go check it out
and it has built-in support for things like Nuxt3 and other cool things that the front-end teams are right now very excited about, and it's made for speed. Well, and we all love speed, even though we are not directly front-enders here, but we love it, and again, it's extremely fast. So that's exactly what we are aiming for.
Lars is sharing that sentiment in the chat. V3 being blazingly fast, and yeah, it really is. I know that whilst Jason was preparing the content for this blog, actually V3 came out, so I guess it's all V3 based. But yeah, very cool.
And again, in the modern web times now, speed and security, about which we will be talking now, is considered as probably two big important things that drives the steering wheel amongst the solutions. And we've been driving some of our solutions to the latest patch releases after the security patch that we discussed last week. And of course, it was September 6th that when it was available for us, and a lot of people were updating and fixing and patching the sites to be safe again.
So we've now got 10.1.1 and 9.5.4 releases which fix this issue. If you can't upgrade for whatever reason, you can also fix this or temporarily fix this by turning on unattended upgrades in your config. So if for whatever reason you're not able to deploy some, you could manually go onto a server and apply that if you absolutely have to. And this is also why this issue doesn't apply to cloud, because unattended upgrades are on by default for V9 Plus on cloud. So there's your answer. The issue, which we've now seen a bit of detail on, which is fantastic that HQ identified this themselves. This wasn't something that came from an external audit, and I think possibly because it's quite it would have to be very opportune. You'd have to be right place, right time to take advantage of this. The issue is if the upgrade process is running, as in you've got new DLLs that's then triggered the installer to run, you can effectively get unauthorized access to the back office when the application's in that state. So I would hope most people are using unattended upgrades now anyway in production, so you don't get that flash of a screen to end users. But even if you were, the chances are you probably went in, authorized the upgrade instantly, and then it's probably there for a few minutes. I guess it's more websites getting caught out by potentially a deployment, not realizing you needed to do that, and then users potentially being able to access certain back office APIs and things. So upgrade or fix the config or both if you're not. And it's not a difficult task to do.
But as you mentioned, it's like a good kind of turnout from the splash screen that we had to upgrade things through the automated upgrades and unattended upgrades, and now to the place where Umbraco code is getting fixed and more secure when it comes to this process, because it all proves also that we all write software, and software can have some issues that are not easy to be discovered if you're going the standard way, but the ways are changing. And here it was very edge case to really get this access to.
I did say this. I want to say last week to make myself look good, but I think the reality, as I said it maybe a month or two ago, Umbraco doesn't have that many security issues anymore. Touch wood. But it's good that this one is manageable,
controlled.
I think most of the vulnerabilities that have been found in the past have been with third-party dependencies, those sorts of things. Whereas now this is probably the first actual Umbraco one in a little while, and it's great that it was quickly identified, patched, and communicated very clearly and well. So kudos to the team that's been involved in
Definitely. And another set of kudos needs to go to the Umbraco team for the release 10.2. That is being rolled out, and it has a lot of improvements and also some small improvements that made the big difference again. and I highlighted a couple of these. Of course, Umbraco and the team behind the release revealed the video of unboxing this version, so everyone can also watch what's inside directly in the video. Any best released feature from your perspective, Callum? Anything what you like
the language variants thing? Of course, we had Seb and Bjarke on 2 weeks ago to talk about this. The language variant permissions is really cool, really slick, easy to get set up, and will save a whole bunch of hassle in some of the multilingual sites that we build. I think data type copying is pretty cool as well. Last night at the London meetup, we were having this discussion that actually there's not much in the CMS now you can't copy, as in, you know, entities. There's maybe bits of things I'd like to be able to copy, like copy an individual block list configuration between block list data types or those sorts of things. But on the whole, we can now copy every entity, which is really, really cool. Copy or move as well. So no, I think those are my two standout features.
Yeah, more flexibility and more freedom amongst the multiplication of the contents. I like this as well, but I also noticed that there were some performance fixes and performance issues being fixed in the public access for content. What is also something what was mentioned in various cases, and there is a pull request that can be analyzed. What memory leaks were also spotted there, so that's really interesting, and that's something what I checked in the details in the meantime. So that's really good to see this, and of course a bunch of fixes since the RC. So that's another great release. And what I found and what I've seen on Twitter, it's like there is a lot of people highlighting the speed of upgrade. It was I can't remember if it was a Corny or someone from the Twitter saying that it took 15 seconds to upgrade from version.
I've seen a load of people yesterday. There was a spree of people upgrading. I think Matt Bliss, you mentioned Corny, a few of them had done it in literally a matter of minutes, and it's so refreshing that's what Umbraco upgrades have come to. Yeah.
And as usual, following Umbraco upgrade, there is a set of upgrades from the great package creators and managers amongst the community. Which one of these is, of course, using? So using 10.2 is also out, and it has a lot of interesting also improvements. And I kind of seen this picture, and I couldn't remember myself if the import from file option was already there or not.
No, so this is new. Exactly. So the idea is, and I guess this is a spillover from Usync Complete, where Usync Complete is effectively building up like a zip, an archive, a package that they then deploy and they unpack on the remote server. This allows you to effectively zip up and download that Usync folder, and then equally upload a Usync folder via the back office. I don't know if it's going to totally replace your whole Usync directory, or if you could do like a couple of files and then upload those, and it would then, you know, import over the top. So if you needed to deploy, say, three changes, and you got the Usync definition files out, zipped them up and uploaded them, what would happen? I don't know, but this is clearly very, very, very helpful for some people, especially when you're on a server and sometimes you need to be like, okay, I've got a config difference between like dev and live or something. What's going on? Someone's been messing with the doc type, and then you can go on the server and just go export. That's really helpful. The alternative before was go on there, try and do a clean export or something, and then pull it off the actual server itself. So this is great.
And I also remember it from the Using Snapshot edition, when you could create the snapshot drop. And then, of course, right now we can export the file and see the file structure. And then it opens the doors for us as developers and maintainers to create the zips files of packages, or maybe specific changes, even features, maybe. And why not to ship them and import from file like this without affecting the general structure of the using definition files. So I kind of like this extension, and I will be definitely playing around with this one. And there's a lot of other improvements, smaller or bigger, definitely worth updating and checking it in details. The next,
if the 10.2 update also supports the new language variant permissions on the user group level, because I think Usync does user groups. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, then there's no need. If it does, then it would be great if it did. And maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, but of course it always follows the latest Umbraco upgrade, so I assume that it's being covered somehow. Umbraco did also upgrade the following packages, and there are release candidates for Umbraco Deploy that will be available soon, and there's also a lot of changes there with language content transfer.
The single language thing, because being able to publish just one language, one variant of a node is super helpful. Something we've been asked a few times by clients as well. So that makes a world of difference.
Yeah, and of course it affects and directly relates to Umbraco Cloud and all the processes out there. So that's really good to see it coming. And this is the release candidates for this, and a lot of performance improvements as well. So that means that it's getting faster, better in general, and we can test. So yeah, definitely worth testing if someone uses or wants to use the deploy for anything Umbraco related. And another big one is coming from vendor, and it's 3.0 release candidate, and yeah, a lot of things. I know you've been playing around with this for a while.
We've got some early access to Vendor v3 to kind of load test it, profile it, all that sort of stuff, to make sure that some of the underlying changes made to the actual APIs didn't have a hugely negative impact. So the gist of this release, and Matt released a blog post, I don't know, but maybe up to 6 months ago now, kind of setting out his plans for what he wanted to do with Vendor v3, and he has decoupled that from Umbraco's database, which is great for a number of reasons. Firstly, in a simple point, you can now store all of your vendor tables in an external DB, which is really helpful for if you want customer data elsewhere, you want to be able to scale your content DB separately to your e-commerce DB. So that's really cool. Secondly, it supports, there's some changes to the migration engine that came with that. So there has to be a couple extra tweaks. There's also some changes to the underlying APIs and the use of as writable in the core of Vendor, and that now does a DB lookup, but from what we found, that's still really, really efficient. We advised Matt to add a few indexes on some of these columns. That's resulted in fixing a few issues that exist in Vendor v2 when you're under load, and actually means you can do I think we measured about a 15% improvement on throughput from a checkout. So
nice.
Yeah, very, very, very decent. Very, very decent release.
And also this SQLite support for the of course the SQLite databases that were announced and supported by Umbraco itself too.
So currently you can use Vendor v2 latest, like Vendor v2 4.3 or something, on v10. It works on v10. However, you cannot use it with SQLite. So this is purely for v10, v3, and it will continue to. I don't know what the release plan is, or whether v10 is the kind of new baseline now, and the future releases will be multi-targeted to work with v11 or whatever, or if it's going to be a new vendor version per major. I'm not sure. But this brings all the v10 goodness to the core too.
Yeah, good work from Matt and the team there, and I can't wait to finally use it, and I finally will be able to use it in one of the projects. So that excites me even more. That it's getting better and better with every possible release and opportunity. So that's great.
I'll say as well. I believe the process for upgrading here is equally as slick as, say, upgrading Umbraco. That's put a lot of effort into those migrations. We found a few issues, tested a few things, and had those fixed as well in the kind of pre-release candidate stage. So from my experience of upgrading Vendor, even from v1 to 2, which had some decent breaking changes, it was so slick. It took me 5 minutes to do. So I encourage anyone, if you're working on a v10 site right now with Vendor, go take it for a spin.
I will report it back next week then, how smooth it went. But I heard the exact story, so that can be truth. 2 releases from Anders and the team at Skybird Limbo, starting from Umbraco Redirects package and a patch release for version 4. dedicated safe backup methods for internals and renamed some fixes and updates and updated essentials dependency with some new things out there as well. And the second one is the Limbo multi-node tree picker.
Yeah, it seems like every week. Maybe this is a game that Andrew's playing to get a different type of picker in each week, and the concepts are still the same. We don't really need to repeat this. We've been over it before, the idea of a converter and being able to have a few additional controls. We did media picker, they've done content picker, loads of different things. This looks really cool. Go check it out. Exactly.
Yeah, good stuff. And thanks, Anders, for sharing. And the next one is drawing 404. That was the code. Oh, okay. That wasn't the one. The next one is from Shannon, and it's Examine 3.0.1 release with some community contributions from Chad and other people involved with filtered items, improved logging performance, and some fixes for ASCII folding filter. So yeah, new one and still improving. Still being used by many people. I heard a lot of good things also about it. So check out Examine. I mixed it, of course, with Examine X now, but Examine is, of course, the underlying engine there. And I can't remember when was the last time when I updated Examine manual, but I need to.
Yeah, it's one of those things now that Umbraco ships with itself. You don't really need to think or worry about dependency unless you need one of the features or the bug fixes that gets patched in there, because it will just take the lowest version, I think. Or at least that's the default config.
But it was a standard previously, right? That was a new version of Examine. Oh, I need to bump it up as bump.
Yeah, I would always update that. Always update.
Yeah, same here. So yeah, check it out for sure. And the next one is from Patrick, and it's a SEO toolkit upgrade. Yes. Also another fixes for the one issue from Umbraco 10.1, and also there is some information on the 3-node level to prevent some single node stuff. So yeah, improved version, small upgrades to bug fixes, worth updating for sure too. And last but not least from the releases is a contribution to tag helpers, and it's a new implementation of the preview debug.
So currently the our-cache tag helper is cached always, and Mark's given a change the implementation. So if you're in preview mode or debug mode, then it's not cached, which is great because you don't really want to be cached locally, at least. So that's pretty cool. Really cool.
Yeah, that's really good. I still didn't use tag helpers too much, and I have still it on my to-do list to dive deeper with the tag helpers. But it's getting better, and that's exactly what you expect from the behavior when it comes to the debugging and previewing stuff. And we know how much it can help. It can create issues when it's cached and you cannot preview the changes you've made. So that's a really good one.
Warren's mentioning here as well that the caches will get cleared now whenever content's published too, which is really cool.
That's cool. And meetups reminders, a set of meetups reminders. We've mentioned it last week. Most of it is transitioned from there. But September 14th, Umbraco Sydney meetup, hybrid event. And the next one is the day after, and it's Manchester Northwest Umbraco meetup group in person on Thursday, talking about DXP. Then the week or even more after, Minneapolis.
There's the Minneapolis one. Again, we spoke about this last week, kind of doing a mini roadshow in the US with Minneapolis, Charlotte, New York. We'll be there. It should be good fun. And then there will be a New York page coming up in the next day or two as well. So we'll make sure that gets put in the links.
Nice. Then October already, and Kent Umbraco meetup back again. So we've mentioned it as well, and we'll be, of course, reminding about it closer to the date. And last, the October 25 is Umbraco user group in Sweden, hosting Bjarke, and then we're talking about everything Umbraco related out there in the.
There's a couple of other meetups going on that I think I missed off the list actually. Which Edinburgh's going to go back in person mid-October sometime. There is another Australian meetup somewhere in that time frame as well. This week, of course, UmBristol went back for its first in-person talks for a while. We had our London meetup yesterday, which was really good fun in person again. We've got a social coming up in October. There's a few things going on in the coming months. So
yep, definitely check out this subsite and also Umbraco meetup account to check what is around and when, and we'll be trying to highlight all of this every week when it's happening closer to the time. The next announcements and information is from Morten, and
is this an official announcement? Is this like actually live?
Probably. Yeah, sure. because I saw, maybe Warren, if Warren is watching us right now live, can confirm, but I saw some information that go there to the cloud and just enable the multi-factor authentication. So
I will be trying that straight after this call. It's been missing for so long, so long.
Yeah.
So it's really great to see, and great to see they're not using these sort of flawed mechanisms like SMS. It's authenticator app based. So Warren's confirmed it's live. So I will be doing that straight after this. That's cool. I saw this week, of course, there was a nice Azure outage on Tuesday. Umbraco ID also failed. No one could log in, and it revealed quite an interesting message when it fails to connect. Umbraco ID displays a message that just says, "Help me."
Really, I missed it, but I was trying to access the portal, the Azure portal, and it was also working extremely slow. Sometimes
Azure
not working.
Portal, Azure Front Door, kind of anything that was is like a global service, which let you into a little secret. They're not global services. They are like globally available but hosted. Have some quite obvious points of failure. There was a Azure AD outage a couple of years ago that was as a result of like a lightning strike or something in the US, and took out all of Azure AD globally. It's like, right, so it's not globally distributed and all night that you'd imagine. It's kind of, maybe it's globally served but centrally controlled, I think is the issue. So
definitely, and we can at least reset the counter since the last Azure outage and now count again.
They went a few months without anything.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was really surprised. I went to the status side on Azure, and everything was green. I said, no, it's not Azure. It was so stable recently, but then everything turned yellow. And there was some new announcement. Yeah. So that's how it is. That's still software somewhere on someone else's computer. YouTube updates. Umbraco Lab Session and recording from this week's Umbraco Lab is out, and this was the merge edition. Yes. So I saw the huge ambitions of merging whatever can be merged to Umbraco, and
this is a nice idea, because GitHub do this as well. I know that that Martin, who we've had on the show before as well, actually, he's done like a GitHub PR merge show, and he'll go through PRs to their open source repos and say, we can merge that, and they'll review them live, like with a couple of people. It's a really nice idea. So I'd love to see more of this format from the Umbraco Lab team.
And again, additional pair of eyes. We know how essential and important it is to have some couple people looking at the same things and thinking like, it's really worth merging. that's really good one. So the recording is there. So if anyone wants to rewatch and see how it was done, maybe before the next sessions, check it out on Umbraco Community YouTube channel. And 2 more videos from Paul still this week from his series on how to build a website with Umbraco 10. The part 9 with block list editor, and the part 10 with block list featured items. So the implementation of block list.
This one is hot off the press. It's got 4 likes already. That's impressive. Hot off the press. This one's maybe an hour old. So go check that video out. Links will be down below.
But I also I can't remember if it was this week or the previous weeks when the cheat sheet of this Angular was released. I was so much interested when it will be used, and now Paul.
There you go. You can see it. So Joe's blog's in a tab up on the top right there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's already being used and implemented, and I think again, whenever I saw Joe's blog post, it was already clear for me that it needs to be spread more and more, because even if we are using it,
It should be turned into some documentation.
But there were some times in Umbraco when I was always Googling for Umbraco magic strings. It was like or Umbraco magic properties. I can't remember the name. It was always these properties for the redirects and things like that. It was easier to find it in Google than sometimes in the documentation. But it's right now public and everyone can share. And Paul already used it as well for highlighting it in the video. So yeah. Two more to discuss. Two new hires being highlighted this week from Umbraco HQ perspective. The first one is Mari, who joined the team as best friend finder. That's
my girlfriend works in like talent sourcing as well.
Yeah,
like in-house HR talent team, and they were having a little laugh about this, like the job title being BFF. That's quite funny. It's quite funny. I think, is it the job of when they join at HQ to like come up with their own job title or something? Because that's I know everyone's got funky job titles. I don't know if it's like a requirement. The first, you're on mute, Marcin.
Yeah, of course, my headset died in the meantime. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
So I think it depends from the personal preferences, because we also remember how Emma's title was involved by her as well. So it's and how everyone approaches the titles. But yeah, I don't mind. I used to use my title as Marcin, just Marcin, because it was hard to define what I'm doing. And it's still hard to define what I'm doing. But yeah, that's really good to see. And again, it's a very important role, especially in the fast-growing companies. We know how market is changing, how it's wild out there, and how important it is to really find friends and have friends and make friends if it's needed, right? So that's really good to see Marie joining and helping Umbraco doing it. And the next, maybe it was one of the friends found by Maria, someone in the team. It's Nikolai, who joined the hardcore
team. Nikolai.
Yeah,
three Nikolai.
The third.
The question I have is, how many more Nikolais is there in Denmark that they can hire? Because it seems like they all work at HQ.
Yeah, but at least there is a semantic versioning right now, right? So so that's really easy to follow. I used to see the really nice video of fast-growing companies, and they were referring to the number in the queue when they were hired, right? So I was the 6th person of this company, for example. Right? it's like this kind of stuff. So I'm the Nikolai the third, and then that's my position. But it's good to see again growing teams and development teams, and here Nikolai is extending the hardcore headless team. So it's also a huge addition for the team out there. And yeah, looking forward to the code and improvements done by the teams and other friends being found by Umbraco. And that's all from our list of news. Anything else to add, Callum? Anything?
I don't think so. It's still a busy week in the Umbraco world. It's exciting.
Exactly. So yeah, people, if you're watching, and we had a really nice, huge number of people live watching us today.
Yeah, we did.
So hit like if you liked.
Oh, no, where's the banner? Where's the banner? Wait. There we go.
Yes.
Now it's official.
Now it's official. So like, subscribe, follow the account, share it if you liked it, and you think it can be helpful for someone who wants to be up to date with Umbraco's announcements. We are heading towards our fifth birthday.
We've got to do something really crazy for that.
Yeah.
UmbraCoffee skydiving.
Or umbraCoffee from the sky.
from a plane, yeah.
From the plane or something on top of above the London, the sky tour. We will find out. Share the ideas. If you have any crazy ideas, let us know, because we can always feel inspired. But yeah, we're heading to our fifth birthday, and I'm always amazed when I'm talking about it. It's like, doing something every Friday for 5 years sounds crazy. Yeah. So yeah, Lars mentioned Umbraco Cloud. That would be really good episode. But yeah, we definitely keep it up, and we will do something cool and crazy for the fifth birthday. Of course, with a dose of Umbraco news from this Friday, because it's the same as every Friday. Yeah. So stay with us, like the content, share it, help YouTube spread it across the other people who might be interested in Umbraco. And feed us with news for the next week. That's how it works.
Yes. Make our lives easy.
Yes, exactly. And of course, at the end of the day, have a nice rest of the Friday and the weekend ahead, because we will see each other on the next Friday for sure. Cool.
See you. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, everyone.